What do you think of some of these so-called experts out there? Nick Wright, to me, has drove me crazy with a lot of the way he makes his picks, and they're kind of obnoxious. What are your thoughts of his picks on the mountain and whatnot in the past?
This is the thing that I was actually going to comment on that earlier.
Yeah.
It's just so frustrating. I mean, this is the thing is Cameron sent it to me from TikTok a while back ago.
Yeah.
It was like on Monday or Tuesday. It wasn't a while back ago, but you get it anyways. And I texted him back and I said, I just don't understand what he's necessarily trying to point or prove. Because his mountain makes some sense. If you're saying if it's the greatest of all time,
right,
or greatest of current players. But then it honestly doesn't, it makes less sense if you're saying it's a current list of how players are playing.
Right.
And I told Cameron that, and he said, well, it's a list of how great players are, how they're currently playing. And I'm like, well, Mahomes can't be at the top then.
No.
He's not playing well.
No.
And even Cameron's come in here and sat down and said, well, yeah, he's not playing well. He's not going to play well until the end of the season. And don't get me wrong, when it's week 12, 14, 16, and I'm looking for a quarterback to play, I'm picking Patrick every week.
Yes, those are two different
things. But
it
can't be a current list if you're going to put Patrick at the top currently.
He's 20th in QBR.
That doesn't make any sense.
20th.
And Caleb Williams, I don't necessarily want him not to be good.
Right.
But man, at this point, he does not look good.
No.
And you can say it's the offensive coordinator's problem. You can say it's the head coach's problem. You can say DeAndre Swift isn't as good as a running back as they thought he would, or he's missing Keenan Allen, or their line isn't blocking well enough. I'm sorry. I'm not making that excuse for Jaden Daniels.
Yep, and he's right outside the top 10.
Yeah, and let me tell you, they have one good wide receiver there.
I know.
And their tight end was all pro for us 10 years ago. Okay? So
wow.
I don't want to hear
Ertz.
I don't want to hear that Jaden Daniels is in a better situation.
No.
I'm sorry. I want to stop hearing the excuses for Caleb because they need to own up to it and he needs to get it right. And I hope he does.
Yeah.
But Nick Wright's stance, and this is the problem with Nick Wright. This is why I can't stand. I think he is actually a great television host. The problem is he had this moment where he put all the chips on the table.
Yep.
He put all the chips on the table at the casino, and that bet paid off.
Yep. And
that was
his
the
favorite team.
That was the Kansas City Chiefs. He's a Kansas City homer. He's from Kansas City.
Yep.
He's been a Kansas City Chiefs fan his whole life. He put all of his chips on the table for Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs, and it paid off. And awesome. That's great.
Yep.
But now he's the guy at the casino that won all this money, and he's still just throwing because he's saying, I'm the greatest bettor of all time. But he has so much money,
great
it doesn't matter anymore.
Yep.
This is the problem I have with it.
Yeah.
You made one great call.
That's exactly
in your life. And I'm not saying you haven't made other good calls, but stop letting that one great call make it seem like every time you call something, it's now the most correct thing in the whole wide world.
It just, I don't understand why you can't have humility. Him and Colin Cowherd, they're like good buddies, and they're in cahoots on certain things. But it's like when you see something, just admit it.
Yeah.
Okay, I have the 49ers as the number 2 best team in the league. They're not on my top 10.
Yeah.
We just put that out. Why? Because they're not playing like it.
Yeah.
To just keep them on number 2. Well, they're 1 and 2. They're 1 and 3. They're still going to be number 2. It's ridiculous. Say what you see, and then if you're wrong, say, I was wrong, and maybe later it'll change, but as of now, they're not here. His thing, he made it on 2 things. The Mahomes was one of them, and frankly, his Brock Purdy thing. He's known as the Brock Purdy hater. Here's what Brock Purdy's done in this league. He's now in year 3. You know how many bad games he's had, Brock Purdy?
Probably
1.
Much.
1. He's only had 1 bad game. He's had 3 medium games and 1 bad game. His first game,
what was the bad game?
It was against the Ravens.
Oh, I'd probably tell you he probably didn't like that game he played against the Eagles.
Yeah, well, okay, but that wasn't a bad game. I was going to go into that. So his first year, he comes in. He doesn't get credit because he didn't start it. It came in the first quarter. He won 9 games in a row.
Yeah.
That's how he starts his career as the last pick in the draft. And you know what Nick Wright said? Now, the only game he lost was when the Eagles obliterated his elbow, in the first quarter of the NFC Championship game. He was 9-0 of games that he finished.
Yep.
Who does that? His first start of his career, he went out against Tom Brady and won by 30.
Yeah.
That was his first game. Talk about intimidation. He goes in, this is what Nick Wright says in the offseason. Well, yeah, the whole time. We'll see how he does, but now when teams have a whole offseason to figure him out. All last year, he was top 1, 2, or 3 MVP candidates throughout the year. Top 5 at least.
Yeah, top 5 at
He
least.
played the whole year. He had and now we're in year 3, and he moves him down. He moved him down his mountain last week when he had almost 300 yards passing. He threw for 75 completion. Anyway, I just have a problem with Nick Wright and Caleb Williams. So somehow Brock Purdy, who's played in the league and played at a high level, is down here, and Caleb Williams, who never had a snap in the NFL, starts on like the top 4 quarterbacks in the league.
Yeah.
And he won't admit it. He'll say, "Well, I'm being fair." No, you're not fair. Caleb Williams doesn't deserve. He doesn't deserve on a mountain. He deserves on the valley somewhere, way off into the distance. So anyway, I just like to see them actually say things that are correct based on actual facts, and anyway, they cherry pick things. So
what's his current mountain look like?
I don't know what I didn't see his mountain. He usually posts those on Tuesday.
Hold up, I'm pulling it up.
But Colin Cowherd's the same thing. I don't even know if they're actually watching the games. Like, I really don't know that they do. No matter what, if a player he says is terrible, they're just terrible forever. There's nothing somebody can do. Nothing. If Caleb Williams, if he has a good game next week, he'll be rising on that mountain. He could have 1 out of 5 games good, but because he likes him some Caleb, he had the quarterback for Jacksonville, Trevor Lawrence. He had Trevor Lawrence up there forever, even though he's playing terrible forever. And Joe Burrow, now Joe Burrow's played a little bit better here this last game, but Joe Burrow isn't there. So do you have that mountain pulled up?
Yeah.
Okay, who's on the mountain?
This was the one that I actually saw the other day that I was like, that doesn't make
so
any
I'm
sense.
assuming Mahomes 20th in the QBR is number 1, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a very accurate depiction. So who's 2 and 3?
Hold up, I want to make sure this is this is the most recent one. Sorry, I don't want to put fake news out here.
Oh yeah, we don't want to do fake news.
Okay. Here we go. We go. I'm getting it there.
All right.
We're getting there.
Yes. So anyway, I guess my biggest thing is I just like to fight for all the players. And frankly, if Sam Darnold deserves to be high up on that list, give him it.